Dad yelled, "How dare you refuse your brother?" As I saw $88,000 missing. Mom smiled. It was for his engagement. I said nothing. This morning, they learned the cost. I'd always been the responsible one, the family's quiet ATM. But when I woke up to find my life savings, a staggering $88,000, stolen by my own family for a helicopter entrance at my brother's engagement party, that's when I finally understood. They didn't just take my money. They'd shattered my belief in what family truly meant. My name's Alex, I'm 31, and for as long as I can remember, my identity has been the older, responsible son. I work as an operations analyst, and honestly, I thrive on order. My desk is always pristine, my shirt's ironed, and I can tell you the unit cost of a pallet faster than my favorite movie. Growing up, being useful was our family's love language. So I learned to be very useful, fixing printers, organizing closets, sending money that somehow never came back. Then there's my brother, Ryan. He's 26, and charm practically oozes from him. The kind that makes parking spaces appear out of thin air. He fails upward, always has. In school, he won most likely to be on TV. And it just stuck. Now he sells houses, mostly by posing in fancy kitchens and talking about vibes. My dad calls him my boy. My mom? She says he's got star quality. When I landed my first real job, Dad said, "Good, steady." When Ryan closed his first client, Dad practically shouted, "Finally, destiny." My mom, bless her heart, is the architect of our family illusions. She loves a plan with a theme and a budget that's flexible, as long as my money is the flexibility. She makes coffee in a French press to look fancy, then microwaves it twice. She knows what she wants from me before I even know I'm in the room. My life, by contrast, is simple. A one-bedroom above a dry cleaner, a rattling car, and a savings account I watch like a timid pet. I run before work, eat oatmeal, and text home safe in the family chat. Because for them, safe just means available. This wasn't new, this dynamic. It started with birthdays. When I turned 12, I wanted a secondhand bike. Dad said, "You pay half, you'll take care of it." So I mowed lawns, raked leaves, and counted quarters on the kitchen table. But when Ryan turned 12, he wanted a drone. "Boys need toys," Dad declared, buying him the newest model. When it inevitably crashed into the maple tree, Dad said, "We'll get it fixed." When my bike got a flat, "Patch kits in the garage, be a man." Money was a language we spoke, but no one taught us grammar. For Ryan, money just came. For me, it was always a lesson. I don't hate learning to work, but it cuts deep when those lessons only go one way. At 17, I saved grocery store tips for college in a jar. One July weekend, that jar moved from my closet to the kitchen counter. "Just for a minute," Mom said. "Gas bill." They put it back eventually 3 months later. But a lot less. The jar learned about evaporation. At 20, Ryan borrowed my car for a date and returned it with the bumper bungee corded to the undercarriage. "Long story," he shrugged. "Dad just told me, be proud your brother's dating a nice girl." I shelled out $412 for the repair. Pride doesn't make safe left turns. When I graduated at 23 and got my logistics job, Mom threw a cookout. Aunt Denise hugged me, whispering, "We always knew you'd be useful." Like it was a prophecy fulfilled. The next week, Dad called. "We're switching to a family phone plan, save money." It saved their money. I put my card down just to set it up. Never got it back. 6 months later, when I brought it up, Mom said, "It's hard to pick a good moment, with everything going on." When isn't there something going on? I used to keep a note on my phone, a tally. $68, urgent Comcast. $340, Ryan's tire blew. $175, Mom's crown popped off. $920 deposit for Ryan's apartment. His credit had a mix-up. $200, Dad's bridge loan. A client check delay, they'll Venmo Friday. They never did. I deleted the note eventually. It made me feel like someone I didn't want to be. Someone who kept score. Funny how not keeping score only ever helps the person who's winning. My savings grew anyway. I'm good at starving my own wants. I lived small. Rice and eggs for lunch. I liked the number in my bank app more than I liked new shoes. I had a plan, a down payment on a small condo in 2 years. Maybe a balcony that could fit one chair. Then Ryan met Emma. She's kind, gentle, the kind of person who blinks 3 times when she's thinking. She made him want to be better, but he thought better meant presenting bigger. Suddenly, we should do something nice became we can't be basic. He asked me for a little help with the ring. I told him, "That's between you and the jeweler." He pouted. He called Mom. Mom called me. We stick together, Alex. Don't be the kind of person who can watch families struggle. A ring isn't a struggle, but in my family, definitions are always flexible. The engagement party started as a backyard idea. Then it hopped fences. The garden at the Monarch. Mom's eyes shone. It's magical. Then came the string quartet, the champagne wall, the neon sign with cursive. Just the entrance has to be special, Ryan insisted, showing me a clip of a helicopter descending over vineyards, petals falling like snow. It's just once, he said. Look at the comments. Everyone cries. Who's paying? I asked like the village idiot who asks where the water comes from. Dad grunted. You know we're stretched. As if he had a right to narrate my checking account. Maybe scale back? I suggested carefully. A cool car instead? Mom gave me that smile you give a child who colored outside the lines. You think small, Alex, because you're used to small. Or because I have to pay for small. I shot back, too fast. Dad's jaw tightened. Watch your tone. The planning meetings became a minefield. Not overt yelling, just subtle knives. Alex, you're so organized, Mom would purr, handing me folders stuffed with invoices. Alex, you're steady, Dad would say, sliding a deposit form across the table. Ryan would wink like we were in on a heist, except I was the vault. I tried to draw a line. I'll gift $1,500. That's what I can do. For a second, I felt brave. Mom blinked. That doesn't even cover the ice sculpture. She wasn't joking. Dad leaned in. Don't be petty. Petty is a helicopter, I said. He just tilted his head like he didn't recognize the word. A week later, I came armed with a spreadsheet. Columns for vendor, cost, date, who's paying. Let's be clear and fair, I said. Ryan laughed. This is giving tax audit vibes. Mom waved her hand. Money is energy, Alex. Don't make it ugly. Dad simply said, we'll handle it. Which in our house meant I would. I started noticing little things at my apartment. A drawer slightly ajar where I kept my passport. My iPad, which I'd used to set up their phone plan, moved. A half-written code on a torn post-it note. It made me feel paranoid in my own home. I changed my bank password, set up two-factor authentication. I told myself I was being dramatic. Then came the night that tipped the scale. We were back at the oak table. Mom had a new binder tab. Arrival. Ryan had a video queued of a helicopter over vineyards. Dad poured coffee like it was whiskey. Decision day. Mom chirped. Monarch said we have to commit and pay the premium for the landing permit. They rarely offer it. It's fate, I muttered. Or marketing. Dad slammed his cup down. Don't start. Ryan leaned forward. Just say yes, man. Be a brother. Aunt Denise, never missing a cue, added. You'll understand when it's your turn. Like I was failing some generosity quiz. I looked at their faces, open and expectant, as if I were a vending machine that took kindness as currency. My stomach did a small, quiet flip. I said, I can't. Dad's chair scraped against the floor. The room went silent like a photograph. How dare you refuse to help your brother? He snapped. Not loudly, but with that tone that bruises. I didn't argue. I stood, rinsed my cup, and said, I have to get up early. I kissed Mom's temple. Love and boundaries, sometimes they can sit in the same mouth. I walked out. On the drive home, I wrestled with doubt. Was I wrong? My phone buzzed. Twice. Ryan, you're unbelievable. Then Mom. We'll talk tomorrow when you're calm. I went upstairs, set my alarm, and stared at the ceiling. I started making a list in my head. Not of payments, but of lines. Morning came. I made oatmeal, opened my banking app for my routine check before work. And then I stopped breathing. I stared at my screen for a full minute, unblinking. The numbers didn't make sense. My savings balance was a number that belonged to someone else. The available line had collapsed like a tent in a storm. $88,000 gone. Overnight. Transactions. A wire to Sky Vista Aviation, a cashier's check to Monarch Events, a charge to Floralux, a debit labeled ALC Lighting. My stomach went cold, then hot, then hollow. I checked the details. The wire initiated at 1:42 a.m. The cashier's check purchased at 8:57 p.m. at a branch across town. The florist deposit hit at 10:13 p.m. My phone had been on my nightstand. My card hadn't left my wallet. The app said verified by passcode. I felt sick. I called the bank. The hold music sounded like an apology. A woman named Carrie picked up, spouting compliance script about unauthorized activity. She asked if anyone else had access. No, I said. Then I thought of the iPad, the drawer, the post-it. I changed my password last week. My voice felt miles away. We can file a fraud claim, she said. Freeze your card. Stop further transactions. If the person used credentials and knew your passcode, it may take investigation. I hung up. I drove to my parents' house without deciding to. I parked crooked. I walked in. Mom was at the table, binder open like an altar. Ryan had his feet up, flipping through a vendor booklet. Dad sat at the head, a judge in a small-town court. I held up my phone. Explain this. Mom didn't look sorry. She looked annoyed. We had to act fast, she said, as if explaining why she'd changed the thermostat. Monarch had another couple interested in the date. Dad folded his arms. Don't be dramatic. You'll get it back. You always make more. Ryan laughed. You're being weird. It's for love, man. It's not like we took it to gamble. It's not yours, I said. My voice was calm. The calm I use when a vendor tries to overbill by pennies. It's not your money. Mom leaned forward like a guidance counselor. It's family money. We're investing in a memory. You'll thank me when you see the photos. You stole, I said. Dad slapped the table. Watch it. I changed my password, I continued. Who had my phone? Ryan shrugged. You leave it around. It's not hard to guess. You use dates. Dad's mouth twisted. This is what you get for being secretive. I laughed once. It sounded like a bark. Secretive? It's my bank account. Mom smiled, that sweet, chilling smile. He deserves a helicopter entrance. And more. You don't want him to look cheap. You drained my savings, I said, each word a slow, deliberate step. $88,000. Ryan whistled low. Sounds bigger when you say it out loud. He flashed those milk-white teeth. Just do your duty as the older one. There it was. The script. Duty means empty your pockets, hand over your spine. Say yes until your mouth forgets other shapes. I put my phone away. I looked at the three people I had loved with an ache that used to feel like purpose. I realized I could argue for hours, and it would land like rain on wax. I'm not arguing, I said finally. Dad smirked, victory already warming his face. Good. You were embarrassing yourself. I stood. I took my keys off the hook by their door. Somehow they'd ended up there. I put them in my pocket. Mom's eyes narrowed. Where are you going? Home, I said. To do what I should have done a long time ago. You can't stop the party, Ryan said. Contracts are signed. I looked at him. We'll see. Mom's voice turned sweet and dangerous. You're going to ruin your brother's life over a number on a screen. This isn't about revenge, I said steady. This is about closure. Dad muttered. Therapy talk, like it tasted bad. I'll send you an email, I said and walked out. I didn't slam the door. I didn't raise my voice. I got in my car and drove straight to the bank. The teller recognized the look on my face and led me directly to an office with a fake plant and a real lock on the door. I told my story once slowly. She listened like a human being. She clicked keys. The wire is pending. The cashier's check can be flagged. These vendor charges are pre-authorizations. We can dispute. She had me sign an affidavit. She added a note. Account hijacked by close relation. She set up a passphrase no one in my family could ever guess. Because it was a word none of them would pick. Next, Sky Vista. A man with a cheerful voice answered. The kind of voice people use when they know they're expensive. We don't reflect cancellations over the phone, he said. The booker signed a no-refund clause. The booker used stolen funds, I stated, my voice like ice. I have a bank fraud case number. If you fly that helicopter, you're participating in a criminal transaction. I gave him the number, cited the bank, CC'd my new email account I'd created that morning. He went quiet. Someone will call you back. I went to the Monarch. The event coordinator smiled until she saw my face. Unauthorized funds, I told her, showing her the case number. I handed her a printed letter, the kind I hate writing, stating that any contract signed in my name without my consent would be contested and prosecuted. She looked at that letter like it was hotter than the coffee in her hand. We'll review. You have 24 hours, I said. I CC'd Monarch's legal team from the email printed on their wall. Then I called my phone provider. Remove all additional lines from my plan as of today. Transfer any remaining balances to the individual users. The rep started the script about family savings. I understand. I cut her off. Remove them. Click, click. Done. 3 lines went dark. Not revenge. Consequence. At home, I opened my laptop and made a new document. 90 days. I wrote, email only. I will not respond to calls/texts. I'll reply to emails within 48 hours. I will not fund any expenses for the engagement/wedding or emergencies that are not hospital/police level. I will gift $1,500 directly to Emma with a note. For what you want. I will not be an authorized user, guarantor, cosigner, or temporary holder for anyone. Twice monthly dinners are available. Public place, 1 hour, Thursdays at 6 o'clock. I printed it, slid it into a manila folder, and labeled it. What changes today? I slept for the first time in 2 nights. This morning, my phone started vibrating at 7:02 a.m. like it was possessed. 18 missed calls by 7:15. 14 from Dad, 3 from Mom, 1 from Aunt Denise. The group chat turned into an oven. Call me now. What did you do? My phone is off. Monarch says the payment is flagged. Sky Vista emailed saying the FAA permit is halted. I made coffee. At 7:40, someone pounded on my door. Dad. He didn't wait to be let in. He shoved past me, face the color of raw steak. You humiliated us. Mom followed, breathless, hair half done, binder clutched like a child. Ryan came last, in a hoodie and sunglasses, as if the paparazzi were in my hallway. They canceled the helicopter, he said, like reporting a death. Do you understand? The helicopter? I set the manila folder on the counter next to the kettle. Read, I said. Dad slapped it. I'm not reading your little manifestos. Then listen, I said. The bank froze the wire and the check. They flagged the florist and lighting. Sky Vista and Monarch have my fraud case number. Any venue that takes stolen money becomes part of a crime. I will not be your criminal. Mom's eyes went glassy. Stolen? We're family. Family isn't a bank, I retorted. Ryan pulled off his sunglasses. You ruined the entrance. The fact that he meant it made me weirdly sad. I will never forgive you, he spat like a teenager. I pointed at the list. This is what I will no longer do. This is what I am willing to do. If you want help budgeting, ask respectfully. If you want to talk, email. If there's a hospital emergency, call, and I'll pick up. Everything else is a no. Dad planted himself in my kitchen like a monument. You think you're righteous? You forced our hand. You said no. I said I would gift $1,500, I replied. You took $88,000. It was a loan. Mom tried. You'll make more. You're steady. I'm steady because I don't do this, I said. I'm steady because my yes means yes, and my no means no. Ryan started pacing. Emma's parents are going to think we're clowns. I picked up the smaller envelope I'd put inside the folder and handed it to him. This is a check for $1,500. It's made out to Emma, not you. She can use it for flowers, a dress, or a vacation from this circus. He stared at the check like it was a personal insult. This is petty. It's a boundary, I countered. Dad's voice dropped to the low register he uses to scare a room. If you don't fix this, you're out of the family. I looked at him. At the man who taught me how to change a tire, and also how to ignore my own need for rest. I'm not out, I said. I'm just not for sale. Mom grabbed for the moral high ground and slipped. What will people say? They'll say we didn't arrive by helicopter, I replied. And then they'll eat the chicken. She made a small, wounded sound. Ryan swore. Dad shook his head, like a coach watching a player refuse to play through pain. I don't recognize you. I finally recognize me, I said. They left in a storm of whispered strategies. Minutes later, the messages landed like hail. At 8:22, a new email subject. You are sick. Body. Return the money. I replied once, attached the 90-day document, and wrote, I love you. Email only. Twice monthly dinners are available. I won't discuss the party again. At 9:03, a voicemail from Aunt Denise. You're breaking your mother's heart. At 10:11, another from Dad. The bank called. They're asking questions. You're going to get us in legal trouble. At 11:30, a text from Ryan. Just let the helicopter go through and we'll pay you back after the wedding. I didn't respond. He sent 13 question marks. I blocked his number and sent him a single email. All communication by email. By noon, Sky Vista replied in writing. In light of the fraud alert, we are voiding the booking. Monarch emailed. Contract under review. Deposit held in escrow pending investigation. The florist wrote a gracious paragraph about understanding family dynamics and no hard feelings. That one made me smile. I ate lunch. Rice, eggs, hot sauce. My hands weren't shaking. At 3 p.m., I met with a lawyer for a 30-minute consult. She read the affidavit. She told me to keep every email, to stop talking on the phone, to document everything. If they retaliate, credit cards, utilities, call me, she said. But I think you've done the important part. Which is? I asked. You stopped pretending money is love, she said. It's not. It's a tool. You're using it to build a boundary. That night, I took a long shower. Not the kind where you think of better comebacks. The kind where you wash your hair twice because you can. I made tea. I watched a dumb show where no one asked anyone for $88,000. My body remembered what quiet feels like. The panic in the family chat reached a fever pitch by bedtime. Mom posted a Bible verse about honor. Dad said, a man, and then coward, which was a weird sequence. Ryan posted a black screen with white text. Some people are snakes. Emma, bless her heart, sent me a single email. I am sorry. I don't agree with this. Thank you for the check. I wrote back. I hope you get the party you want, not the entrance. She replied with a heart emoji. I didn't need a translation. I slept.